So Amobi very much leans into the combination of panel-based data and ACR data. We're recently just announced our 4-screen solution that actually leverages the Nielsen panel and the Gracenote ACR data for driving some level of commonality at a user level across linear TV, CTV, and digital video.
So when you look at the broader landscape today from a measurement point of view, there's obviously a huge amount of change. I think we had 2 new measurement suppliers launching at CES alone, but there's measurement solutions seemingly coming out of the woodwork. Why is there so much measurement out there at this point in time? Why is there so much measurement data moving into the TV market?
Sure. So first and foremost, it's because of the introduction of automatic content recognition, right? The smart TV sets and how much data comes off of that. And so Vizio actually, licensing out their Inscape data to a lot of different companies really was the beginning steps for many companies to be able to start measuring TV. And so as that continues to accelerate, more smart TVs come online. The ability to measure TV in one way or shape or form has become a lot easier. Now, the question is it right or not? That's still to be determined. There's lots of companies out there doing a lot of different measurement. And so it is because of the fact that there's a lot of ACR data in the marketplace that's readily available that allows for companies to do some pretty seamless market measurement.
And perhaps ironically, at the same time as we have more and more of this data available, many customers argue that we're losing sight of the big picture, that the TV, which has always been panel-based measurement, is becoming much more complex to get our heads around. Do you have sympathy for that perspective?
I do, and I think it's, the fact is there's so much data, there's so much fragmentation that it just kind of creates a lot of confusion in the marketplace. And so ideally, there's going to be some level of reset. And what that reset looks like, I don't quite know. But it does require some truth level data, I believe, in the US in particular, Nielsen, alongside some census-based data and some bigger data sets. But there has to be commonality. We've got to pick these pieces off the floor of all these fragmented components, bring them together, put it together to have a common measurement.
So you're a proponent of some sort of collaborative action to try and figure out how we get to that reset, some independent verification?
I hear it all the time. So brands, large media companies and brands, not so much media companies, but the brands themselves, the advertisers want a common measurement. They don't want to have to work with different broadcasters in their own measurement solutions. They want something that is holistic across the entire ecosystem. I don't know, Nielsen's definitely a player in that. There's going to be other players involved as well, but for measurement in particular, we need to come together as an industry and have some commonality.
So what are the best TV companies that you work with doing to deal with this complex, fragmented environment? How do they change the way they operate, the way they sell their ads, the way they attribute value to those ads?
So first and foremost, it starts them trying to understand their entire portfolio. And that includes their linear alongside their VOD, their streaming video, distribution across all the different platforms that they have. And so there's an identity solution that's required as part of that, knowing their homes, knowing who's consuming what across devices. And that can come with the likes of a LiveRamp Identity Link or other data partners out there that bring that together. And then you need to have all the pieces. So really what the large broadcasters are doing is trying to, first and foremost, again, pick the pieces up in terms of the fragmentation and make sense of it. So they can start looking at things across their entire portfolio of supply that they can provide holistic planning, holistic sales to their advertisers. Advertisers want to buy reach in the world of television today. It's still a big factor. Whether it be against demographics or some other strategic audience, reach is still the common need. And so until these broadcasters are capable of utilizing technology which exists today to understand their entire portfolio across linear and all the digital components, then once they understand that, they can start selling that. And we're helping broadcasters in particular try to make sense of all the different ways that the content's being distributed.
Now, there's a lot of talk at RampUp 2020 about the transition to a cookieless environment in the digital space. What does this transition mean for the TV industry? Some people say it's great news. Others are a bit less optimistic.
I would say it is great news for the TV industry. The TV industry traditionally doesn't really, or not too concerned about cookies, in particular third-party cookies. And the fact is, a lot of these broadcasters now too, because they have their own apps and distribution and talking with customers and consumers directly, are now getting their own first party data. So they have the ability to actually now talk to the consumer directly, which is great for them. And they never really lived in a cookie world, right? And so everything was about either using a panel. Now there's ACR data, which is not cookie based. There's connected TV, which is not cookie based. They own the apps that are the mobile device IDs, and so it is actually very beneficial for those publishers and broadcasters to not have to worry about cookies anymore.
And a final word, the decade is right at its beginning, month 3. What changes do you expect to see during the course of the next couple of years that you think clients and companies should be really thinking about today?
Yeah, so continuation of addressable TV. So moving beyond the MVPD's traditional addressable TV world, and now the broadcasters actually, given smart TV technology and dynamic ad insertion, that's going to be the additional increase. And so more addressability alongside linear. Being able to actually look at linear TV, addressable TV holistically, and be very targeted in terms of advertising, whether it means removing waste or being more or just driving better ROI. You can look at it either way, but the outcome is more addressable television is coming.